everyone. Today I got this Dell laptop, and the problem with this one is that the screen doesn't show anything on the screen. Once you turn it on, the screen stays black. So this is a client just brought it in today, and I'm gonna open it up, show you guys how to open it up and how to fix the issue for these models. And the exact model for this one, it's Dell Inspiron 3421. So let's go ahead and get it started. First thing first, you want to put your working towel on the bottom. Next, you want to unhook the battery by removing these clips to the sides and lift the battery from the back upside. Alright. Next, you want to remove the cover for the hard drive and the RAMs by removing only one screw right in the middle. I already removed it. And next, you want to grab it from the bottom where the SD card goes in and just lift it up. And that's the bottom cover. Alright, next you want to unhook the hard drive, which is, there's a one screw right on the bottom, hidden between the hard drive. Let me see. If I zoom in, it's right over there. So you gotta remove that screw. Once you remove that screw, grab the hard drive, this flip right here, and just pull it towards the outer side. And then you're gonna see space in between the hard drive and the connector. Now you can lift it up the hard drive, and that's it. You can replace it, or if you want to replace it, you have to remove the caddy. There are only two screws. This metal part is called caddy. You have to put it on the new hard drive. Alright. Next, you want to remove the cables for the Wi-Fi, the black and the white. And also remove the screw for the Wi-Fi board. And take the Wi-Fi out in 45-degree angle. Don't lift it up too hard. Always in 45, and just pull it out. And in 45 goes in. You don't want to lift it up. You're gonna damage the connectors right there. And for the RAM, just pull the clips. For the RAM, these clips right here to us apart, and the RAM is just gonna pop open in 45-degree angle. And again, just lift it up in 45-degree angle. You don't want it lifted upward. Once you remove those, and you want to start removing every screw that is on the bottom cover. So go ahead and remove everything, even the ones under the battery. And once you did that, you want to grab the CD-ROM from the side and just pull it out, and that'll be your CD-ROM, DVD-ROM. And there's also one more screw right under the cover in front side. You have to remove that too. I forgot. Right there. And double check, make sure you haven't forget any other screw. And next, you want to flip it over. And we're gonna start removing the keyboard. To remove the keyboard, you gotta grab a flat screwdriver and put it right in on top of the 8A F8. There's a plastic thing. Let me zoom in so you guys can see it. Right there, that plastic thing right there, you have to pull it towards the screen. And then once you pull it towards the screen, and lift up the keyboard and put your fingers underneath so it doesn't go back down. Alright, and then you keep gonna do that, the same thing right by the mute button, and one right by the delete button, and one right by the escape. And now you can slowly lift up the keyboard, but don't yank it. There's a flex cable, and move it upward. Once you see this flex cable, you want to lift 90 degrees the black plastic up right there. And now you can just pull out the flex cable. Also do the same thing for a touch mouse pad. Lift it up and pull out. So that's your keyboard right there. If you want to replace it, the model numbers, it's right at the bottom of the keyboard. Same thing, the way that you disconnected the touchpad, disconnect the on-off switch, lift it up and pull out. Now we're gonna remove all the screws at the bottom on the metal cover. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 screws. So go ahead and remove those. Alright, once you remove those, you want to put your thumbnail right in the hole, just without a finger, just lift up the top cover slowly. And if it's really hard, then you don't want to do that. Sometimes it works, sometimes not. It's really hard. Alright, another way to do it easy, just grab your guitar pick and stick it right on the bottom in the corner here. Sometimes when you push it down and you lift it up this side, it just comes out, and if it doesn't, just grab your guitar pick, put it in between the plastic here and lift it up and work around all around it. And put your finger so it doesn't go back down. There we go. Now we're gonna go upward towards the DVD room. Just wiggle it around while you're walking. While you're moving around it, and it will come out eventually. Now this is the top cover. Flip it over. You have your on-off switch here, so you can replace it if you want to. Your mouse pad and your mouse clicks are right under this plate. Alright, and this is the motherboard down here. So we're gonna disconnect the USB port on the right by removing the flex right here, and just leave it to one side, bend it over, don't bend too hard. Remove the speakers right there. Now we want to remove the screw that holds the motherboard in the corner. You want to unhook the flex cable right here, the same way that you disconnected the other cable. Just lift the plastic 90 degree and slowly pull it out. Same thing for the power jack cable, just pull it out, and now we can go ahead easily just lift up the motherboard. And now once you lift it up, you can see the shitty thing that they do, and Dell started doing right now. So you flip it over, what you have, you don't have your GPU. This GPU gets installed on the next versions. If you pay more money, they will install you a new GPU with your video RAMs right here, and they have to have a new copper pipe going through here, or maybe going the other way around for the fan. This one has a CPU installed on the board directly, so it's soldered in. And next, the other big problem with this one is the ventilation. Even if you have the copper pipe and the fan right here, what the company does, it just gives you a very small space, about 10% space for the air to have an airflow coming from the bottom, going through the fan and out through the heatsink. So what they do, they calculate how much they leave you the air opening. So pretty much they know that by leaving this area open within your warranty limit, once it's over, your GPU or your CPU starts failing. But if they give you well opened ventilation, it will last you even longer, which they don't like that, because they want to be able to resell products, to have service charges and all those bullshit. So pretty much this is done in purpose, and if you do get different models, you can see the ventilations are different. If I grab a different laptop, let's say gateway laptop, and you can see clearly on this gateway laptop the fan is clearly, it shows nicely on the bottom, so the airflow goes right through here and comes through the heatsink from the side. Some gateways, even they start doing the same thing, they only put half the ventilation, so the air goes with a much more difficulty, and the heat, it starts accumulating in the heatsink, and that's start failing the GPU or CPU. For example, this is another Asus laptop. They have the same type of shit doing in here. The fan only has to go through here, the air, and out through the heatsink here, and it does suck air through the other holes that is on the bottom cover, but it's not the same that having a direct heat air opening right on the fan. But if you buy in a low-end laptop, you probably it's not gonna probably last you more than the warranty limit, so it's highly recommended that once you get your laptop open and you want to just punch a holes through this area so you can open a better ventilation, which I'm gonna do on this one. I'm just gonna start drilling some holes so I have better ventilation. That's why in this model, when you turn it on, it turns on, but there's no video, because the CPU, it does the video chip is built in the processor, has an HD integrated Intel. So pretty much we're gonna remove the heatsink right now. Let's close the cover, and always put another paper on the bottom so you don't want to scratch the top of the laptop. Now disconnect the fan and unscrew the heatsink. And there we go. So what we want to do, we want to open this fan and clean the heatsink right there. So make sure that there is no more dust built in there. So by removing this tape right there, and also they soldered this metal cover right in there, so I can't move it. So I have to actually unscrew the fan, which is only 1, 2, 3 screws. So let's put the motherboard to the side and unscrew the so once you unscrew those, just remove the fan, and this is another reason it fails. With a poor ventilation, and beside that, and you don't give any maintenance to the laptop, it gets even worse. So the heatsink, it starts covering it up, so the air doesn't flow, so it heats up and you blow up your CPU or your GPU. Every year you have to open it up, change your thermal paste, and clean your heatsink. Also, you have to clean your fan oil. People don't care about the fan oil, and it does really affect the fan noise and the RPM on the fan, the rotation. So this is pretty much really important part of the service. People say like, no, just grab a can of the air and just blow it through it. So if I blow the air through here, all this dust is not gonna come out. They're just gonna push through the fan. It's gonna get stuck, and it's gonna actually stop the fan. So it's not gonna let it rotate. The best thing is to open it apart and clean it up. So I'm just gonna grab an old toothbrush, and I'm gonna remove all this, and I'm gonna clean it. And I'm also gonna clean the thermal paste with an alcohol, and I'll be back right after this. Alright, now that I cleaned up the heatsink, beautiful, nice clean, and clean the thermal paste right here. Now this is the other important part. You wanna grab your fan. Let me focus on this one right here, and you want to grab it with your 2 fingers on this side. Don't grab it from one side, and just pull it out slowly, and you're just gonna remove the fan from the motor. So first you want to start cleaning with a toothbrush, with an old toothbrush or your new toothbrush, doesn't matter, your fan right here, and clean it slowly, gently around the motor. Alright, now that we cleaned the fan and this one, we cleaned it with for the dust pretty much. Now we're gonna clean the inside of the fan. So pretty much you're gonna grab your alcohol and let me focus a little higher. And you're gonna grab your towel and just gonna put it gently inside the fan right there. You wanna clean it up nicely. Just rotate. Don't press too hard, just gently. And this is really important for a rotation of the fan and fan noise. You see all this dirt in here? You want to remove all these things. It slows down the fan, and so it stresses the hell out of the fan. So you want to clean it up nicely. Once you clean up this, now it's beautiful. Now it's way less. Right there. Now you want to inject, because there is no, I don't see any more oil right in there, lubricant. So there should be a loop right inside that hole, so it can rotate a little better. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna grab the high temperature lubricant for the fan, and we are gonna inject it right inside the hole right here. Just one drop. Alright, now that we added the oil inside the fan, the motor, we're gonna put the fan gently right on top. And we're gonna move it with the fingers, just do this few seconds so it actually lubricates nicely. Do counterclockwise, clockwise, and that'll be all. Now, this is a proper way of cleaning your fan on your laptop. Once you cleaned up the heatsink and the fan is clean, now you can put it on and flip it over. And put the screws back on. I always recommend that you guys do this once a year. It doesn't take too long, and it's really healthy for your laptop. It won't overheat, you won't burn the fan, the motor. You need to lubricate your fan motor always, because all the heat that accumulates inside the heatsink, it does affect the fan. Alright, and the next thing that I really don't like about this laptops, most of the laptops, it's how they have the screws for the heatsink. It's pretty much, they made it so it won't actually press too hard over the CPU, which is bad. You need a really nice hard pressure over the CPU. So if you have your chip right there, GPU or CPU, doesn't matter. When you have your heatsink, let me zoom in. When you got your heatsink, you need a nice pressure from the heatsink to the die on the chip, IC chip. If you have a really compact, tight pressure between the chip, the heat will transfer really nicely. It will really fast, and they will not provoke any overheating. But what do the companies do right now? They actually put this stupid kind of metal things here. These metal rods here, they don't have too much tension to them. They're not flexible enough. They lose their flexibility really fast. And let me show you guys here. They lose their flexibility really. So once you screw it in, it's supposed to pull the heatsink toward the CPU, but it doesn't. It does a really bad job at it. So on some other models, they don't have this one. They have a nice screw with a big huge resort on it, so it just actually spring, has a big spring, it just pulls the heatsink towards the chip. On this one, you have these things. If you have one of these, I just recommend you guys grab pliers or something like that and just bend over a little bit. Let's say hold it like this so you guys can see it right there. So I would recommend you just grab a pliers and twist it a little bit outward as about 35 degrees, just like that. So do this one on each legs. See how this one is like flat with the heatsink? You want it to have this kind of tension. So this will actually give you nice pressure. It will pull the heatsink towards the CPU. But this one over here, it will not do any job. It just holds it in place. It does not apply any pressure. You need that pressure. So do that one, the same thing. Make sure you have the same height so you have the same even pressure. Always make sure it's the same height. Even once we do this, it does help, but after a few months, because this metal is not flexible metal, it is flexible a little bit right now, but it's supposed to be like a really flexible, like other metals that exist. Now on this side, you want to do the same thing. You want to lift it up so you get this kind of, I don't know if you guys can see it right there. So you want to lift up a little more right there. Now once we do this, you get actually a better contact. Let's zoom back out. Now we're gonna clean the heatsink, the CPU with an alcohol. You only want to clean the die. You don't need to clean the around the CPU, but if you have time, you can go ahead and do it. There is no harm if you leave thermal paste over the CPU, as it's not conductive. It doesn't do any damage. Alright, now how we can fix the issue? The issue is coming from the underneath the soldering balls on the CPU, and we also know that the CPU can hold lots of temperature. So the CPU, it's okay, it's not bad. Some people say no, the CPU it's messed up, it's bad, so it's not the soldering ball. The soldering ball, they melt at a higher temperature. Yeah, but there's a physics, there's a reason for that. The soldering balls are melted at lower temperature, and that's another topic that I will make another video and I'll show you guys why. For those people that they think that they are right and the problem is within the chip and not the soldering ball. Alright, so now what we're gonna do, we're gonna heat the CPU, but before we hit the CPU, we wanna inject a liquid flux right under the chip. And we're gonna do it with a high quality liquid flux that we have, not a regular dirty liquid flux. So you're gonna grab your syringe, you're gonna inject right under the chip. How do you know how much you have to inject? As soon as you start injecting, you're gonna see the flux. If I'm injecting from this side, I'm gonna see the flux liquid coming out from the other end. Once I see that, that means I'm okay. There we go. Now I see that it came out from the other side. So that's where I stop. Now, if you're doing this at home, you want to grab your hair dryer and you want to put it on the max heat, and you're going to have about inch or 2 inch space between the chip, and you're going to apply the heat with your hair dryer about 5 to 10 minutes. But I have a soldering station, I have a heat gun station, so I'm gonna set it at 320 degrees within 1 inch space, and I'm gonna start heating it up. And if this process doesn't work, then I have to actually remove the chip and resolder all the balls at the bottom. That's why first we're gonna heat it up to make sure that we have a reflow on the chip, on the soldering balls. So I'll be back as soon as I start applying some heat on this one. Alright, now we're gonna go ahead and heat up the chip. Alright, now we're gonna set it to cool down for 5 to 10 minutes, and then after that we're just gonna assemble it back together. Alright, now that we actually cooled it down, we're gonna apply the thermal paste. I am gonna use my Arctic Silver 5 thermal paste. You guys can go with any other brand you want. I recommend Arctic 5. Just one tiny drop, and just smush it all around the CPU, and that's about it. Now we're gonna grab the heatsink. You're gonna align it first, and we're gonna start putting one side. Now it does have actually nice tension, nice press over the CPU, but who knows how long that will last. But it is gonna be better than what they do in the fabrication. We are gonna put the RAM in. And I am gonna go ahead and put the Wi-Fi in first in 45-degree angle. Put the screw for the Wi-Fi. Alright, now we're gonna go ahead and open the laptop. And put the heatsink side in first and just drop it down. Put the fan. Plug in the power jack. And you wanna put the LCD in 45, nice, right there. Run the cables nicely, hide the cables in the corners, make sure it's not on the way. Connect the extra USB, close it. Oh, before you do that, you gotta put the screw right in the corner in the motherboard. Now you can go ahead and put the cable. There we go. Now we're gonna grab the top cover, put the top cover on, just squish the corners. For a testing, first, before we do any screwing, we're gonna connect it back in and we're gonna try it out. Plug in the charger. There we go. Now you got power in. And now all we need to is configure the BIOS and just put the hard drive back in. Alright, next we want to put the 5 screws on the top and also connect the touch pad right there. So let's go ahead and alright, now we're gonna put the keyboard back in. Make sure it's evenly in, so don't rush it, and then close it. And put the bottom side always down first, and then the rest. Now we can flip it over, run the cables for the Wi-Fi board. Right, now go ahead and plug in your CD-ROM. And the rest is easy, just put the same screw that you took it from in the same place and you should be done. And I hope you guys like this video. If you liked it, thumbs up, and if you guys subscribe, I really appreciate it. It motivates me to make more videos and answer questions. And put the bottom cover. I also guys take requests from my subscribers, and if you have any requests regarding any laptop, let me know and I'll try to get my hands on it. For now, this is how you fix your Dell laptop and do your own service. Thanks for watching, guys.